One of the coolest parts of the Wintry Shackles update is we have been given another S rank selector in Punishing Graven for you to fill out your teams. Genshin could never. Guys, it's a joke. Chill out. We're just having fun here. But what I want to do today is walk you through a few details and help you understand what character you should be selecting for your account in Punishing Grey Raven. Whether you're a new player, a returning player, or a veteran player who's always been here, I think this guide is going to have something for you. If you haven't already though, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys, for more Punishing Grey Raven and Wuthering Waves content. And also for me, just because you like me. I'm a pretty nice guy. I think I'm pretty good. So just do it. All right, let's go in and take a look. One thing that we need to remember as we go into this is that any PGR account will always have permanent access to two previous S rank selectors. The first one is the starter selector, which includes the 5 characters that are currently on screen. And the second one will be another selector that will go all the way up to Luna Laurel. If you don't know where that second selector is, if you select the guide button on the left-hand side here, you can find the S rank selector down here after you've completed 21 tasks in this guide menu. Something cool to note about this is that down here on the right hand side, you'll also get an S rank weapon selector. So something to consider for this second selector is you can get a signature weapon for them as they go up to the same character. But understanding that we have those 2 S rank selectors available gives us important context going into our new S rank selector, which gives us more characters to choose from, as well as an opportunity to go back to old ones we may have missed before. If you don't already know where to get the latest S rank selector, that can be found in the events tab here. Scroll on down until you find the wonderful spring gift. And here, over the next 5 weeks, different challenges will become available for you to complete. And as you complete them, and you've completed 15, you will have access to the new S rank selector, amongst some other goodies, so keep that in mind. But you might be saying to yourself, Connor, I already know where to get the selectors. Get to the good part. Who should I be picking? That is a great question, but I'm going to show you in our little guide right here. Priority 1 are optional seconds, starter selector, and skips. One thing to always remember is everybody's PGR account is going to be a little bit different. So this is not going to be gospel, but you're just going to want to take your specific account and your needs into consideration when you're choosing your character. One last detail to keep in mind as we go through this is taking into consideration you're looking for the best characters possible or most meta for your account. If you always want to play for fun, pick for fun. Don't worry about this video at all. This is simply you're looking for efficiency here. Always understand that disclaimer. All right, let's continue. The first place I want to start is on the starter S rank selector. On the starter S rank selector, you're going to have Nanami Pulse, Liv Luminance, Karenina Ember, Lee, and Kamui Tenebrian. Now, this one I think is a very, very easy sort, as you're going to be skipping all of Nanami, Karenina, Kamui, and Lee. These characters have been fully power crept up until this point and don't really have a lot of relevance. On your starter S rank selector, you're going to be selecting Liv Luminance. Liv Luminance is a great support unit. Being physical, she can be flexible into some of the other teams. She also has a leap available, which has helped keep her relevant, and she is a meta character for quite a few months to come. She is a no-brainer on the starter S rank selector. Now, understanding that starter selector, I think we need to actually talk about the most recent selector and what character to pick from this before we can finalize who some of the other secondary picks are going to be. Because I do think, and having talked to my community as well, there is a clear first pick on this list. And that clear priority 1 is going to be Liv Imperia. Now, Liv Imperia is a fire amplifier and is definitely maximized by being on the meta fire team, but she can also be a flexible support unit for other teams as well if your account is more limited. If you do not have Lee Hyperreal or Nanami Starfarer for that matter, Liv Imperia, it can be a DPS unit and a support unit all wrapped into one. With her self-sustainability, you can have her solo stages. She's just a fantastic character that I think you should definitely be considering bringing in first if you do not already have her on your account. If that's all you're looking for on this one, that's it, you found it, there's your answer. However, you may be wondering, well, I've got Liv Imperia, like I do on my account. What should we be looking at for the other ones? Let's filter through some of our last units here. In my opinion, Selena Capriccio is a free farmable unit. I don't think you should waste an S rank selector on her. If you're watching this video during Wintry Shackles, I think you should definitely be skipping Bianca Veritas as a lightning DPS unit, because with Lucia Crimson Weave now being available, she is a clear choice to be picking from here on out. So I would definitely be skipping over her as well. A character that came out fairly recently, only a few patches ago, was Bianca Stigmata, and she is now the meta physical DPS unit in the game. If you have Bianca Stigmata, I would say you can probably skip Alpha, Lucia Crimson Abyss. I think she is definitely a skippable unit in this case if you have that. However, if you do not have her, she could be pushed up into the optional second. But I would still say I think she's a little lower on the list, as she has already been power crept. So now we've got our final 5 units to pick from. So if you've already got the other characters on this list, you've already got Liv Imperia, you've already got Liv Luminance, obviously from your starter selector, you've got to think through these final 5 characters. And this part is definitely subjective. I cannot stress enough how much the next decision is fully going to depend on your account and what S-rank characters you currently have available. So before you start fighting with me in the comments, I'm giving that disclaimer. Okay, let's continue. In my personal opinion, from left to right here in order of priority, I'm gonna say one of the first units you should consider if you do not already have her is Luna Laurel. Now, yes, Luna Laurel has been power crept on the CN side, but that's still not going to be for quite a few months from now for global players. If you do not have a strong dark DPS unit, she's definitely going to help you at least create a functional team for the game modes that are currently available. You may not agree with that, but I think she's definitely one you should strongly consider. Following her, I would say you've kind of got 2 options that are fairly close in my mind, but I think one just happens to scratch ahead of the other, and that's going to be Lucia Plume and Chrome Glory. Now having Ayla Kaleido currently available as a new ice amplifier that is free and farmable within the game through the dorm commissions, having a more functional ice team is way more accessible now. If you're missing both Lucia Plume and Chrome Glory, I personally, and what I will be personally selecting in this case, is going to be Lucia Plume. She has only recently just been power crept on the CN side with a new ice DPS unit being brought into the game, so she still has a long life ahead of her in terms of functionality for your team. Chrome Glory, again, I think it's arguable on which you want to prioritize over the other. He is going to give you some of that defense shred, so you could argue that he's ahead, but I think he's definitely going to be up there as well as an optional unit to consider. Now, if you have all 3 of these units, again, I'm going to say the next 2 kind of fall into a similar place as Lucia and Chrome that are also going to kind of be in the same tier of optional. Now, of course, I love Vera Garnet. She's one of my favorite characters in the game from like a personality and design perspective. I think she looks fantastic. I am so excited for her Pharaoh skin. But in terms of functionality, she kind of becomes a QTE bot with the introduction of Lucia Crimson Weave. Lucia Crimson Weave is a hyper carry unit where she's basically on the field all of the time. And by activating her core passive, triggers both QTEs for the characters that are on her team. So you really only need her in there as a QTE bot along with your amplifier or support, which is going to be number 21 Feral Scent or Liv Lux or another support unit in the meantime, that if you don't have somebody else available. So because of that case, I'm putting her a little bit below Rosetta Rigger. Rosetta Rigger is a physical tank unit. She's going to help enable your physical team comps with a little bit again of that defense shred, and she's also a great unit to pick because of that S-rank weapon selector I previously mentioned. With her S-rank weapon selector, she's very much enabled by that to help increase your physical damage overall in your rotation. So I would put her just a little bit above Vera Garnet in that place, even though it kind of breaks my heart to do so. But I hope that clarifies a few things for you guys about which character you should be picking on your S-rank selector this time around. Again, new players, limited roster players, Liv Imperia. If you have Live Imperia and you are looking to fill in the gaps on one of your elemental teams, you can pick from this optional secondary list to help close those gaps. And of course, Live Luminance would be on your starter selector for my brand new players who are just coming into PGR for the first time. Again, as I said before, you could say that Alpha or Lucia Crimson Abyss could be an optional second if you are missing Bianca Stigmata. But Bianca Stigmata does still out DPS Alpha Crimson Abyss or Lucia Crimson Abyss, even with her leap that is coming in the future. So just take that into consideration. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What character are you going to be picking on your S rank selector? Do you really disagree with the characters that I've put on this list? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it a little bit more, but keep it civil. All right? Just keep it a little bit civil. And then quickly again, I just want to thank the patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. You help enable me to make the content here that we do. You can also come down and there's a link in the description to join the Patreon, or you can come join the Discord community. If you've got more Punishing Grey Raven questions, you can come on over and ask some of those questions. We got a lot of great people there who are always willing to help and help you along on your journey. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.